Well, every morning I get off my boat onto this floating dock here, and when I look underneath that area there, I see something that reminds me of my old fishing videos. You can see them under the stairs here. Crabs. Mangrove tree crabs. That actually inspired me to do a little fishing. So I walked over here and got half a paddle, which is all I was going to really need, and a bait bucket. And I took my little kayak here to go gather up some bait. One thing, however, I thought I would probably benefit from is to have gloves, because things underneath docks tend to get very sharp. So with all that in hand, I dropped the kayak in the water and I headed down to the abyss underneath the dock. It can be a dirty, scary place, but a great place to catch bait. Here are those little guys I saw under the steps earlier. This ought to be fun. Getting this type of great bait for fishing, for fun, for free, to me, is definitely a lot of fun. But, yeah, you know, maybe I'm a little twisted. These guys like twisting around the pylons. That's okay. I would just put my hand on the backside and scare them around to the part where I could see them. I did this for a good 10 minutes and was able to gather up plenty of free bait. Now it's time to use that bait. Damn. So I took my bait bucket, kept it in the Argo 100, and gathered up my rods and reels. Those are my favorite ice rods. And camera equipment, and a little bit of extra leader and hooks. And set off to a brand new destination, a place I had never fished before. I was going to be fishing under a bridge. You guys have seen me under bridges before, but never these bridges. And they're within sight of my new place. This first one is a railroad bridge. And as I went under it, I realized that this is a really pretty spot. And I saw something that got my attention. Brought a big rod too, just in case. Just in case I saw something like I just saw. What I saw were a bunch of silverbacks rolling on the surface. I had no choice but to pay attention to it. Oh boy. Look at those fish on the surface. Wow, this looks like a really cool fishy spot. Man, I can imagine in the wintertime all the fish that would hang out in here. I mean, even right now, there's a little tiny tarpon all over the place. Whew, wow, that's not why I'm here. I got crabs. Let's go fish the bridge. Of course, one more cast and I get a nice bite. Ooh. Wow. and that led to an actual brief hookup.
Good cast. We jumped the tarpon again. That's pretty cool though. Let's see if we can get another one.
Of course, about 4 seconds of a tarpon hookup leads to about 25 minutes of me casting and casting and casting and getting nothing. So eventually I did move on. After all, my goal today was to see if I could muster up some sheepshead, because I was in the mood for a fish dinner. The added benefit happened to be that under these bridges was amongst the most beautiful scenery I'd ever seen. Usually under bridges is pretty dirty and nasty. This one was clean, and there were big mangrove trees growing right here under the bridge.
Look at all the country that's back there too. Absolutely gorgeous. I think I'm going to drop some crabs next to these pylons.
Unfortunately, it was only about 6 inches deep here. The water was so black, I couldn't even tell until my bait refused to sink.
Not very deep over there. Let's try over here. Definitely a lot of crabs here. See more? Not very deep there either.
Turns out that most of the spots here near land were very shallow. You see, I tossed that bait out there and almost immediately the line goes slack, which showed me that there was less than a foot of water there. I knew it was shallow right off of the land, but I didn't realize how far out the shallowness went. Pylon after pylon proved to be very shallow.
Up ahead is the channel. Maybe we'll try over there.
Sure enough, where the boats are allowed to go past was dredged pretty deep. And as I dropped the line down, I got the familiar tug that usually happens under bridges when you put mangrove tree crabs down there.
See him? That's a hell of a nice sheepshead.
The only problem now is that I didn't have a net. My fish grips were too big to fit in his mouth. So I resolved to the fact that I had to just pick them up. These are pointy, arrogant fish. That's bad, but what's good?
That's one piece of bait. I think I'm gonna like it here.
Here under the channel proved to be pretty good fishing. I mean, one piece of bait and one fish, that's a good ratio when it comes to sheepshead. Unfortunately, when I threw another piece of bait out, I did not have the same luck. Might have scared him away. And as I got complacent sitting here with no action, I had a situation that scared me too. That fish tried to get me. That's better. With no boat traffic, I actually moved into the channel and tried my luck over here. And again, what I found over there was pretty scary. There is one of the biggest creatures you're going to see here in the river. And he was being curious until my fish flopped and scared him away.
Good. Mr. Manatee's going away. Man, those things are really freaky. They're so big.
Well, the tide started ripping, making it difficult to hang out onto that bridge. So I decided to paddle back towards home base. However, with only one fish on board, I figured I'd try my luck over here at the railroad trestle. And in an eddy, right where I suspected they would be, I found a nice fish.
Oh, black drum.
That guy was a little too small to keep, although probably very delicious. And again, having only one fish on the boat, I figured I'd try my luck some more. I worked the eddies of these individual pylons, and I only had to try twice before I was rewarded with another fish.
See those big spikes on his back? I don't want them in my legs. That's the only downside to fishing from such a small vessel like a Argo 100, a 10-foot sit-inside kayak. You're not making the situation any better. I'm going to push you up front. You won't stay.
With the tide moving stronger and stronger, I figured it was about time to move back towards home. I had plenty of fish now for some nice meals.
What a day, what a day.
I was also hoping to get something on camera, and the fish cooperated, so life was very good. It was also actually pretty easy to paddle against the current in this little kayak. It cuts through the water really fast. It's probably why I take it out so often. I must say, this 10-foot sit-inside surprises me over and over again. There's home base up ahead on the right. But before I got there, I had to re-secure my catch. It was a little awkward paddling with my feet up against that bait bucket, but I was getting closer and closer to home. And then I saw something that I just couldn't resist again. The only difference this time, though, I didn't get just a short jump and release.
Got him.
Now all I had to do was remember to bow to him if he jumped. I think I did a pretty good job on that one. Problem is, he was really green, and he let me take in all the slack. So now I had a big green fish right under my boat. Trouble!
Pull me over.
Now I was in no position to bow to him if he were to jump again. And like that, he broke me off and took my lure.
Woo! Oh my gosh. I could smell him. I can smell the tarpon. Wow.
Well, what started innocently with me collecting some crabs and going after Sheepshead turned into a successful mission where I did find dinner and also a bunch of excitement. Shows what can happen when you take a kayak out to do some fishing. It might very well be an awesome time. This particular day paid off in dividends.